Visit www.w.gg today and use coupon code BABBLE and get 10% off of your purchase. Hey guys, what's up? Today we are doing something I've been trying to find time to do. Today is not a first time watching. This is not a reaction in the traditional sense of like I'm reacting for my first time and you're kind of seeing that. I'm going to be watching something I've seen a million times, but I want to do it because I love this franchise. Star Wars is my favorite franchise of all time. You see a lot of stuff back here that's like anime and there's Dragon Ball and stuff like that, and all that stuff is near and dear to my heart, but Star Wars is on this side. I've got posters and figures, and on this, there's a bookshelf over here you don't see that has, you know, a bunch of the novels and comics, and I'm such a huge nerd of it. I listen to the audiobooks like when I'm driving, and I deep dive into this stuff like really, really hardcore, and I have since I was, you know, a little child. I was introduced to Star Wars in '97 when they kind of did the big re-releases with the special editions of the original trilogy, kind of leading up and building hype for Star Wars again before '99, which is when this movie came out. To give a little backstory for context, Star Wars came into my life when I was like 3 years old, and I saw A New Hope for the first time, and I thought it was amazing. And I did not see Empire or Jedi until much later. It really was the Phantom Menace coming out in '99 being this big phenomenon that it was that kind of made me be like, oh, hey, that's that Star Wars thing. And I became a huge fan of it after this point. This is not going to be your you know, review bash of these movies. If you want that, you can go somewhere else, and that's completely fine. If you don't like them, everybody is entitled to their opinion. But I love these movies to pieces, and I just want to share that love, and I just want to talk about it, and we're going to see what comes out naturally while I'm watching it. I miss the 20th Century Fox fanfare in the newer films. That is one thing that's missing from the new films, because obviously, you know, it's no longer 20th Century Fox isn't really a thing anymore, but it is nice that they kept it in front of these movies. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I've watched Star Wars so many times in the theater, and every time, no matter what the movie is, no matter if it's a newer one I've seen, that Star Wars, boom, in the theater, oh, chills, man. Like, every time my heart is like, it means everything to me. These movies mean, I can't even describe how much this affects me just watching it like this, you know? So this crawl is critiqued for being very wordy, very not exciting. You got to think about, this is kind of the galaxy at that point. You know, the Jedi are the keepers of peace, you know? They just are, they're not settling some big, huge galactic thing, because there wasn't a Clone Wars. There wasn't any of that going on. It was just very normal. Oh, here's a trade dispute. Oh, these people are having issues over here between two clans. Oh, this is going on. These two planets are having a thing. It's very basic, you know, stuff like that, so.
Captain.
Yes, sir.
Tell them we wish to board at once.
I also can quote these movies. The original 6, I could quote them, like, beginning to end. I'm not going to do that here, but a lot of times when I'm just watching it by myself, I mouth them. I'm such a fucking loser, dude. But I love this stuff. You know, one thing about this movie is so much of it is practical mixed with CG, and that's why it looks so good. I mean, there are things that are dated, and I'll point those out as I go, but so much of the effects here look incredible still today, and this is in '99. It's insane, the stuff that they were able to accomplish in this movie.
I have a bad feeling about this.
I don't sense anything.
Qui-Gon, such an impactful character. Liam Neeson's performance here stands the test of time. He is like the ideal Jedi in my eyes. He is one of my favorites, and the fact that I'm not the only one that says that, he made such a huge impact in this movie. It's such a good, powerful performance that I don't know if you could have gotten from any other actor playing that character.
I'm not going in there with two Jedi. Send a droid.
TC-14.
No, I sense an unusual amount of fear for something as trivial as this trade dispute.
I love this whole intro sets up exactly what the Jedi are at this point. You know, they're very calm, very collected, very much just like, what is the situation? Let's show up, let's figure it out, and let's see if we can kind of come to a conclusion and settle everything. And
slime in my sight again. This turn of events is unfortunate. We must accelerate our plans.
Ian McDiarmid as Palpatine, as Sheev Palpatine for those cultured, is brilliant. I love him. He is a standout in every scene he's in. He is so good. And this whole thing, like, I think George Lucas did it very well. Even people who knew that Palpatine would become the Emperor, I think he hides it really well in these movies, in this trilogy.
They must be dead by now. Destroy what's left.
Yeah, to me, all of these effects look so good. Like, these droids look incredible still, to this day. So having that right there, that reveal of the lightsabers come up in the gas is so cool. Such a cool reveal there. Have them just kind of come out of the gas, and they've got their lightsabers in hand. I think the prosthetics and the animatronic mask of the Neimoidians is fantastic. The mouth movements don't always fit the words perfectly, but it looks so good. And knowing that it's man-made, like somebody sat there and made this, is incredible. I always loved this moment as a kid. Qui-Gon trying to, like, puncture the wall and, like, pushing in, and it's glowing from the other side. I always thought it was super cool, and seeing it kind of melt apart, and so cool to see that this is something that if you did watch the original trilogy before these, you would have no idea that a lightsaber could do this kind of stuff. It's really cool. The droidicas, or the destroyer droids, are such an amazing design.
They've gone up the ventilation shaft.
I always love that. They're gone at the ventilation shaft. I've always, I don't know why, I would always quote that as a kid. They're gone at the ventilation shaft.
You were right about one thing, Master. The negotiations were short.
It's one of my favorite lines in this movie. The negotiations were short. He's so smug. Ewan McGregor sells it. It's a great little line there. We got Padme here. Speaking of more things that look incredible in this movie, is everything they did with Amidala, the Queen headdress and all of that. So much of that stuff in this movie looks insane. It's so well done.
I don't know, but we must move quickly to disrupt all communications down there.
Yeah, like this effect for Naboo. That's all CG right there on the. It looks great.
I have assurances from the Chancellor. His ambassadors did it right.
I can't look at this shot the same. Someone had freeze frame that, and Palpatine looks like he's got this big old, like, it's so funny. I can't look at that the same anymore after someone had screenshotted that.
Transmission generated. A communications disruption can mean only one thing: invasion.
I always love how cranky C.O. Bibble is in this movie. Everything he says is, yes, I blah, 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 blah. Like, he's just so, like, we've lost all communications.
I will not condone a course of action that will lead us to war.
I think that Natalie Portman does such a good job in this role in general, in all three of the movies, but in this one, she has such a commanding presence, and you truly, it's hard to see her for her age. She doesn't seem young. She's very commanding, she plays it so well, that, like, you know, royal, I am the decision maker type role, and she does it extremely well, I think. I was always so fascinated by all of these little creatures in the background on Naboo when they're running through here. Here's everybody's favorite character, Jar Jar Binks. I'm like the world's biggest defender of Jar Jar Binks. Is he my favorite? No. Do I see the problems? Absolutely. But I was such a little kid. I was like 5 years old when Phantom Menace came out. He 100%, I loved him as a kid. And I now, like, I see it, but he doesn't bother me. I love me some Jar Jar.
Oh, Mrs. Stay. Misa called Jar Jar Binks. Misa, your humble servant.
That won't be necessary.
Even though the CG effect of Jar Jar, you know, isn't perfect all the time, this is the first time they had ever done this, one thing. But also, I just think it's so believable, and it's sold so well. The actors react to it so well, because Ahmed Best was just walking around on set. He had this whole get-up on him and stuff like that, and I think that's what makes it so believable, is they were reacting with an actual person here, you know?
If they find us, they will crush us, grind us into tiny pieces, and blast us into oblivion.
That was always my favorite. One of my favorite lines as a kid is the grind us into tiny pieces and blast us into oblivion.
I might warning you, Gungans no liking outsiders, so don't expect the warm welcome.
I think so many people were thrown off by Jar Jar and the portrayal of Gungans and all of that in this movie that they forget, like, how much of a technical marvel it is, this character. I mean, that was revolutionary when that came out. That was, I mean, George Lucas knew, you know, he waited specifically, said that maybe technology will catch up to my imagination, and he still was pushing it so hard to get it to look exactly like he envisioned it. I really commend him for that. This is Oto Gunga, which is such a cool design.
So good being home.
If those robes were sopping wet, like, you'd be like, oh, like, it would be terrible. And they only look like slightly drenched, you know? Like, they're wet, but not like, yeah. Like, these characters definitely don't look like they just got out of being completely dunked underwater.
Hey, you sir, stop on that.
Stop it! It's Tarpals.
No, again, Jaja. You sir going to the bosses. You sir in big doo-doo this time.
You can give shit to George Lucas for this dialogue, but man, little 5-year-old me loved the, you sir in big doo-doo this time. I loved it. It's so great. Also, Boss Nass. I loved Boss Nass. And he's like,
We must warn them.
We shall no like the Naboo.
yeah, this whole scene really sets up the Gungans and the Naboo people and like the surface people and their relationship and how they just don't have a good thing going on.
We are gonna speed you away.
Speed you
We
away.
could use a transport.
We shall give you on the bongo.
To me, I've always thought it was smart to have Qui-Gon be the one to use the Jedi mind trick here, because it's showing that Obi-Wan, who obviously was the original person in the Star Wars films to show the Jedi mind trick and everything, to show it off on Tatooine and stuff like that in the original film. It's showing he's still the apprentice and the master is doing it. And then later on, Luke is the apprentice and is watching the master do it. But it's kind of like passing that on. And so I really like that. I think that that's intentional, and I think it's a good choice. Dis and Nutsin.
You were banished because you were clumsy.
You're
I might be saying that. All of this whole sequence completely fascinated me as a child, and still does today. Just the whole underwater, the end of the planet core of Naboo, and seeing all of these crazy creatures, and the bongo design is really cool, and this whole sequence is phenomenal.
There's always a bigger fish.
Always the bigger fish line is great. I think people give a lot of shit to the prequels. There's a lot more practical in these movies than is given credit for.
The Force will guide us.
Oh, Maxie Big the Force.
I used to love saying Maxie Big DeForce too. And that smells stink-a-whiff. I used to say that a lot too. As a kid, Jar Jar was, I'm telling you, it worked. It did. Jar Jar worked for me as a kid, that's for sure. And my friends too. I don't know about everybody else, but...
Monsters out there, leaking in here, all sinking and no power? When are you thinking we in trouble?
I absolutely love that, because in this crazy stuff is going on, this shows you the Jedi are so calm and collected and the trust in the Force and we'll make it through, and you have Jar Jar being kind of the outsider, you know, he's the audience essentially being like, bro, shit's going crazy, how are you guys staying so calm, what do you mean? It really does show the difference between Jedi and how normal folk would kind of treat big events like that. Yeah, all of these, the palace and Theed and everything looks just so good. That stuff holds up so well. See, like, some of those effects don't look great with the droids, but I think it's believable in this shot here, where the Nemoidians and are talking to them and everything. I think they look pretty good there. There are some shots that are shaky, and it usually has to do with the Trade Federation and the droid armies and stuff like that. But they look great for the time, so that's all that really matters.
How will you explain this invasion to the Senate?
So George Lucas decided this thing where he would have Keira Knightley and Natalie Portman swap off as the Handmaiden and the Queen, and then you're supposed to be, aha, wow, that's crazy. Padme was the Queen this whole time. I think it works, but I don't remember my reaction as a kid to that. I think it was just like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. But I don't know if I don't think I noticed before. It was just like, oh, she's the Queen. But I've shown it to people since. Like, I showed these movies to my mom. She had never seen them, and I just showed them to her. I grew up getting to Star Wars through friends and through my brother and stuff like that. I didn't get into it just from my parents or anything like that, like a lot of people do. And I remember her reaction being like, oh, I was thinking there was something, because you can tell. Keira Knightley and Natalie Portman, they hide it really well, though, but you can tell if you're looking for it. If you're paying attention, you'll be like, wait a second.
Your Highness, under the circumstances, I suggest you come to Coruscant with us.
Thank you, Ambassador. But my place is with my people.
They even did it with the voice thing to make their voices similar enough and everything, so that you don't really catch on right away.
Where are you taking us?
To Coruscant.
Coruscant, that doesn't compute. You're under arrest.
It's one of the first big moments of the battle droids being more, like, comedic in their delivery. It obviously gets more. There's not a ton of it, but there is some of it in all three of the prequels. And then in the Clone Wars, it's, like, over the top. I love that show, but yeah, some of that droid stuff is like, wow, this is a lot of comedy coming from these droids.
Hello, boyos.
We got Rico Lee. Here is as the pilot. He doesn't have a whole lot to do, but I always really liked Rico Lee. Some of his lines are so like that line, the shield generator's been hit, is not the greatest delivery in the world, but I love Rico Lee. I love obscure Star Wars characters that don't really have a whole lot to do. Love those kinds of characters. Good old R2-D2. This showing R2-D2 as being different from other astromechs. It does play out a little plot conveniency to have, like, the blast just happen to hit all of these other astromechs except for him. He's got plot armor in that, and to be like, oh look, R2-D2.
It's out of our range.
Not full of Sith.
Nice. The big reveal. Darth Maul was so cool. To every kid my age, we thought he was the coolest. He just looks so badass. That, like, Ray Park has just this very serious, but he just looks like a badass. Because, Ray Park's small in demeanor. He's a little guy. But, he's he just seems big in appearance the way that they do it in this. He just seems so, threatening. Me and other kids my age at the time were there was nobody cooler looking in cinema than Darth Maul.
Your Highness, with your permission, we're heading for a remote planet called Tatooine. You must trust my judgment, Your Highness.
It's the full introduction of Padme. As Padme.
How'd you end up here with us?
Mine don't know.
The way that they do it, especially in this scene, the way that they do it, that there's no way you would ever think, this is the Queen. She plays it so differently as just Handmaiden Padme and Queen Amidala. She plays both of those so different.
The hyperdrive generator's gone, Master. We'll need a new one.
That'll complicate things. Be wary. I sense a disturbance in the Force.
Gotta make sure you take Jar Jar with you.
No more commands from Her Highness today, Captain. The spaceport is not going to be pleasant.
My favorite is watching these things after you know that Padme is the queen, because, like, it just, like, you can think about what her internal thoughts were right here of, like, what's with this guy? Like, this fucking Jedi's an asshole.
Moisture farms, for the most part.
You got a bantha in the background.
Some indigenous tribes.
Little Jawas. I love all of this. Tatooine's one of my favorites.
Those that don't wish to be found.
Like us.
But see, I think Jar Jar blends in with this really well. Like, he just looks like he's a part of this world. There's so many shots, I think, that Jar Jar is just perfectly integrated. I want to talk about cool designs in this movie. Watto. Such a unique alien design.
My droid has a readout of what I need.
There he is.
Let me take that back, huh? You'll find what you
Love him.
need.
Way too much hate came for Jake Lloyd for this movie. It's completely unfair to a little boy like that. And I think he does great with the material he has here. I love him as little Annie.
Are you an angel?
What?
An angel.
Got Anakin with all the pickup lines.
Ego, I think.
One of my favorite things in the Clone Wars is that they pay off that line. And that you actually get to meet the angels of Viego.
Someday, I'm gonna fly away from this place.
You're a pilot?
Mm-hmm.
All my life. Yeah, it's sad what happened to Jake Lloyd and everything. I think he's doing better now. I'm not so sure on that.
Name is Anakin.
I'm sorry.
George Lucas was trying to sell this little boy as being who would be one of the most evil figures in the galaxy later down the line. And I think he originally planned to have him a little older, but then opted to make him younger as to make it a stronger, like a harder thing for him to process to be separated from his mother. Because obviously when you're a little kid, being separated from your parents and everything like that, like that's a hard thing. Because when you're so little, like your parents are like everything. I think that's sold more if a kid is younger. I don't know if it would have worked as well when he was older. One thing that's harder to sell here is the connection between him and Padme, and you have that they're just friends here, and then later on the romance, because it would be weird. She's like 14 right here, and he's 9.
Yippee!
It's the infamous yippee.
Representative. I'll check back later.
I don't really mind the yippies and the whatever. It never really bothered me. George Lucas, you know, he writes his characters very specifically. And I think he wanted Anakin to be almost that, like, golly gee, kind of like, you know, Leave It to Beaver, kind of, you know, old school little boy, kind of, you know, well, golly gee. And I think that's what he was going for.
Oops.
Sebulba.
Ouch! Chesko Sebulba.
And in the background here, we have the character that would inspire the design of Quinlan Vos, which has now been retconned to be Quinlan Vos on a mission and kind of disguising himself, not going up and talking to Qui-Gon in order to keep his cover. Quinlan Vos came fully from that for the Star Wars Republic comics back in the day from Dark Horse, and he was always a really cool character in those comics and stuff like that. And then he made an appearance in the Clone Wars and such because George Lucas liked him, so...
This storm will slow them down.
You know, in the current canon, Panaka does end up becoming a Moff, and he later meets Leia. It's in a book called Leia, Princess of Alderaan. It's a really good read.
Coming up, Annie. You better get home quick.
Do you have shelter?
We'll head back to our ship.
So George Lucas he put this sandstorm in here. It's not as intense as it would have been. There was originally a sandstorm sequence in Return of the Jedi that was cut. It's a whole deleted part of that movie that was deleted from that. It was this big sandstorm sequence. So him incorporating it in this, I think, is like kind of a way of being like, now we can use the sandstorm, even if it's very brief. You got this statue that was later retconned to be a statue of Maz Kanata, essentially. I think it says it in one of the reference books.
You really like him? He's a protocol droid to help Mom. Watch.
This was almost a much debated thing. I love seeing 3PO here in all of his wires and stuff, by the way, but I just love it. I think it's a great beginning here. But there was a lot of like, oh, how does this little boy build a droid and everything like that, and how does he do that from scratch and all this? It seemed unbelievable to a lot of people. Apparently, even George Lucas has said in interviews, even before this movie ever came out, that 3PO has been around for a long time. His kind of scraps and parts were found, way later when he's in pieces, and Anakin found those parts in the junkyard, and he built them up.
I beg your pardon, but what do you mean, naked? My parts are showing.
Sorry, I love my parts are showing. But yeah, so he built up a protocol droid, essentially, being like, hey, I could put these together and piece them together.
You must contact me.
It's a trick. Send no reply.
Yeah, don't send anything to C.O. Bibble. The boy is a cranky boy.
And the people are dying.
Either way, we're running out of time.
This comlink thing was like a Gillette shaver, the prop, and they made it this thing. I love stuff like that. Those little details behind the scenes stuff is great. This is my favorite here. Coruscant at night. It looks so cool to me. I love this sequence.
At last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we will have revenge.
I always have been and still am. Just looking at it, I'm always fascinated by the look of that whole scene. I just think it's really cool. It's one of my favorite sequences in the movie, just visually. Also showcases the few lines of Darth Maul that have survived in the final cut.
Don't do that again.
Of this dinner sequence, that's my favorite. It's him catching Jar Jar's tongue. Like Qui-Gon's just like, bro, I'm not gonna deal with your shit.
I had a dream I was a Jedi. I came back here and freed all the slaves.
There's a really good comic that came out for the 25th anniversary of The Phantom Menace, where it actually shows a portion of that dream that Anakin had. It kind of goes into that. It's written by Greg Pak, great writer. But it's really cool to kind of see that and what he visualized himself would look like as a Jedi and everything in that comic.
Our ship was damaged and we're stranded here until we can repair it.
I can help.
It's a very genuine little boy response, I can do it. Just let me do it. I know how to do it. Like little kids just think they can do everything, and I love that.
Podracing. Greed can be a powerful ally.
I built a racer. It's the fastest ever.
It's a great setup to pod racing in this movie, kind of setting up what it is, and then you see it. You can kind of visualize, I wonder what that looks like, and then you see it in the movie, and it's like, whoa, Especially back then, like the stuff that they came up with and show in this movie was unheard of back then. So always pushing the boundaries, George Lucas was. Nice.
Are you sure about this? Trusting our fate to a boy we hardly know?
You can kind of see the queen side of her slipping out in that line.
Not on the Republic credits.
Watto's one of my favorite characters in the movie. He's so slimy and scummy, and he's exactly what you think of when, Obi-Wan said the wretched hive of scum and villainy. I think of people like Watto. They're just so, money-hungry, greedy, kind of gross, looks unbathed.
That you did, huh? That you did, You supply the pod and the entry fee. I supply the boy. We split the winnings 50-50, I think.
One of the things that separates a lot of these CG aliens from things that they were trying to do back then, and a lot of people didn't do as well as George Lucas did in these movies, is, and even now in comparison, is that they seem so lifelike. Everything they do, there's so much thought put into every movement of the face and the way that their body moves. There's all this thought put into, how they function. I like the arm cross. It's very cheesy, very corny, but I really do think that that's what George Lucas was going for with the whole thing with Anakin. Is he's like this, cheesy, corny little boy, He says yippee and crosses his arms like this, and,
He gives without any thought of reward.
Well, he knows nothing of greed. He has
special powers.
Like this, all this here is exposition, but I think it is delivered so well between these two characters, between Shmi and Qui-Gon.
There was no father. I carried him, I gave birth, I raised him. I can't explain what happened.
The virgin birth. Very much taken inspiration from the, obviously from Christianity with Jesus Christ and all of that.
Didn't actually come here to free slaves.
That's one of my favorite sequences in the movie is their interaction there. There's something that I just love. I love dialogue. I love character scenes, and that's one of my favorites in this movie.
Real astro droid.
The little moment they have.
How do you get so lucky?
A character of all characters. We got Kitster.
What? With this?
I love him. And that's Wald.
He's never gonna run. Come on, let's go and play ball.
Wald is the little Rhodian boy. He's actually in the suit is Warwick Davis, who shows up later in this movie as another character, but also he was the original Ewok. He was Wicket. Great that he got included into this. I mean, this really is, like I said, I see it. This really is unnecessary Jar Jar antics. Totally can see how someone can find this annoying.
It's working! It's working!
I love this movie so much. Like so many moments, and I have so many memories and things, and it gives me this feeling. I love all these movies so much.
I want to be the first one to see them all. Ow!
Qui-Gon being sly, taking a blood sample.
Yes, Master. I need an analysis of this blood sample I'm sent.
The first mention of midichlorians here.
I need a midichlorian count.
The reading is off the chart.
Further, like really starting the what's so special about this boy? What's so different about him? Why is he able to do things that other kids aren't? Why does he come off so different? What makes Anakin Skywalker so special? And I think this movie does that extremely well. Such a cool ship design. We got Darth Maul just doing his little strut out of the ship. I just think he has so much presence. It's like every time he's on the screen, he may not be saying a lot. A lot of times he's not even doing a lot, but you're just like, what's this guy up to? Like every time he just has that appearance about him. The design is brilliant. The Boonta Eve classic. Let the race begin.
I'll take that bet.
What?
I'll wager my new racing pod against, say, the boy and his mother.
I love this whole part. Qui-Gon playing the game here.
The boy then.
He's like, okay, if we're going to bet on races, hey, that's a way to get Anakin. I want to take Anakin with me. So, yeah, I do like that he tried to get Shmi. He at least attempted. If they didn't do that, it would be one of those things that'd be like, why didn't he ask about Shmi? That's kind of a dick move. But at least he tried to get both of them. He tried to convince Watto of that first. But the chance cube is so clearly rigged. There's more red than blue on it. It's like so clearly a rigged cube like that it was not supposed to be in his favor. And so Qui-Gon's like,
They will never get me onto one of those dreadful starships.
This is so wizard, Annie.
this is so wizard, Annie. It's my favorite. I love the wizard. There is a High Republic book. I don't own it. I can't remember the name of it, but I did listen to the audiobook version of it on Audible. Ram Jamaram is like this little Jedi character, and he comes up with the word wizard in that book, so it was cool to see like a little origin to that. That was fun, because I love it's one little, it's so wizard, Annie. It's so corny, but it's great. I love Kitster. He's like the actor, he's a little kid. He's not great. His delivery's not great. I love him. It's there's a lot of charm to the corniness and the not so great delivery of the lines sometimes. Sebulba is the champ. He's the fan favorite. Everybody loves him. Even Watto's voting. He's like, I'm gonna put all of my money on Sebulba because he always wins. I don't care if Anakin's my little shop boy or not. Yeah, this whole sequence here originally in the screenplay and everything was like way more drawn out and went over every pod racer in the race, and I think it is really smart to cut that and to make it more streamlined to just some of them. You get the gist of it. You get to see some of the faces, and then, you know, they take off.
Young Anakin Skywalker.
A local boy. I also love the announcers. Not everybody's a fan of Foden Bede as the announcers, especially, you know, it's a very real world, you know, announcer, like sports announcer and stuff like that, but it's great. Everybody loves the Piusa, the EOP fart scene. Completely pointless scene. Did not need to be there. I've seen this movie a billion times. It doesn't bother me, but I totally get why it does not need to be there. So Bulba over here being like, hey, by the way, I'm an asshole. Forgot to remind you. He's such a dick. Like, really. He's just a dick. That's what he is. He is like, he's just the high school bully in all the movies. That's what he is in this movie.
Remember, concentrate on the moment. Feel. Don't think. Use your instincts.
I will.
I am a fan of the idea that Anakin needed that. You know, like, he's been in so many races and has done really well. He's never even finished a race. But I like that the motivation he needed was to help these people. Not only that, but also just to have that guidance from Qui-Gon. The Luke Skywalker, you know, use the Force Luke scene right there where Qui-Gon's kind of giving him some motivation and like telling him, like, trust your instincts, you know, really, like, take your time. You see his struggle the whole race, and that's what I think is what his mind is on, is making sure to help these people and what's at stake here. I think he needed that, and it, you know, the willpower of someone can go a long way, so. All of these effects hold up so well. This entire sequence, while drawn out and long, is just such a spectacle. Especially in 99. The fact that they were able... I know I'm going to keep gushing about that, this whole thing, but like the fact that they were able to accomplish this stuff back then is astounding. Like, ILM outdid themselves. Oh, there was Warwick Davis again. He is playing a character named Weasel, which is cool because then later he reprises the role of Weasel in Solo, a Star Wars story. So just a little piece of trivia there for those that don't know. But he's just a little background character here, and then he shows up again in Solo.
Well, it looks like Quadraneros is having engine trouble also.
I love Ben Quadraneros. Such a goofy-looking little character. Some of the biggest memories I have of the pod race in general is the Star Wars Racer arcade game that was also on the like the N64 and stuff like that. And had so much fun with that. The console version and the arcade version. I had so much fun with that back then. And we got Aura Singh, just another character that shows up here and was so, like, audiences were so like, whoa, who is that? And, like, you know, diehard fans were picking that apart. And, like, I think it's been established now in canon that she was here to take out a bounty on Neva Key, who is a pod racer. Really cool to see her there and to see what she fleshed out into. First off in the comics and later in Clone Wars and stuff like that. Aura Singh became a whole big character of her own. Rest in peace, Rats Tyrell. I like the Tuskens here. Shooting these pod racers, just being like, haha, look at us, you know, just being a bunch of dicks. But it just serves as another obstacle for the racers to kind of watch out for, all these blaster bolts flying. This is the Three Stooges pit crew of Odie Mandrell. These are the Mo, Larry, and Curly droids. I like that Anakin's pod is obviously, it's not the biggest. It's all about his skill here and believing in himself and really, you know, trusting in the Force, really, you know, without fully noticing what he's doing, just trusting in his instincts. He's got this small little pod against all these big old massive racers, and he's able to overcome all of this. There's so much thought put into this entire sequence here. This entire sequence it's long, it's and drawn out, but I think it works. I don't feel bored. I know there's some people that are bored by it. I don't really get bored during this.
Skywalker's spinning out of control.
This whole sequence is shot and edited in a way that keeps it engaging. You get to see all sides of it. You get to see, what are, Padme and Shmi and them and C-3PO and R2-D2 and how they're doing, but then also the audience and their reaction to everything. And then you see a little Anakin, and then you go over to some of the other racers and see someone crash. Or the editing to this thing is very chaotic, but it ties together so well, and it's just super intense and exciting, and it doesn't have a bunch of music playing throughout it. It doesn't have John Williams' score. It's all down to the sound design, and the sound design is so good in this entire sequence. And yeah, it keeps you engaged the whole time. At least it does to me. Also, if you never got the chance to see it on the big screen, I didn't get to see it on the big screen when it originally came out in '99. I was little, and my parents weren't into Star Wars. They didn't take me. I saw it later. I saw this movie on VHS tape. Which I still own the same tape, but I saw it later. But this sequence, I've seen it. I saw the 3D re-release of this movie, and then I saw it last year, 2024, when they did the 25th re-release, the 25th anniversary. But this sequence on the big screen is insane, with all the sounds and everything. Just it's a Bulba over there, like, hacking away. Blah, blah. It's another thing that these movies always do, is there's always an explanation for everything. There's always something like, how would everybody be able to watch this race with it being spanned across all of these, these like dunes and this whole arena is so big. This whole track is huge. And so to have little sequences like that where they're watching it on the pad and everything like that, and there's and all of that, it just shows. You ask a question and then it shows you, especially with George Lucas's 6 films, is there's always a reason for everything. He has an explanation for all of the decisions he makes. It makes a lot of appearances. Today is very fitting. My coffee cup, my Star Wars coffee cup, makes an appearance here. It's like shots like that really show how big Sebulba's pod is in comparison. Bam! This is my favorite right here. Podo! Right here, the failed, high five. It's perfect. And the wall just starts dancing. I love that they kept that in. There's something so real about that moment. And against all odds, little Annie made it to the end and won. Also, I didn't even mention how good Jabba looks in this movie. They did the CGI Jabba in the 97 special edition of A New Hope, and it does not look great. And they even polished it later for a later special edition that came out, and the 2004 one, and it still doesn't look as good as this movie. So they put an extra polish on Jabba in this movie.
You can't have him.
You can't have.
It wasn't a fair bet.
Would you like to discuss it with the Hutt?
It's the part where Qui-Gon's like, "Listen here, motherfucker. We decided on this."
Take it.
Watto feeling so defeated right here. Like, what the hell did I get myself into?
Some unfinished business. It won't be long.
Why do I sense we've picked up another pathetic life form?
For whatever reason, as a kid, I was so offended by that. Like Obi-Wan saying, "Another pathetic life form." I'm like, why is he calling Anakin pathetic? I don't know why I was so offended by that as a kid.
Mom, we sold the pod. Look at all the money we have.
Oh my goodness, but that's so wonderful, Annie.
And he has been freed.
What?
Say what?
Nothing happens by accident.
You mean I get to come with you in your starship?
George Lucas was very set on, this boy needs to be a freaking saint.
Is she free too?
And
I tried to free you.
he always said that you expect, if you see Darth Vader as a kid, you expect him to be, you know, this little shithead of a kid breaking windows and all this shit. Like, you expect him to be just a dick, and then that's why he became, you know, what he became. That makes sense. But I think it's so much more compelling, and obviously he did too, was to have him start off as such a kind-hearted little boy, and to see how this whole journey he goes through changes him, and what each step by step kind of like turns him into such an evil person at the end of the day. I mean, it's such a tragic story. It's one of my favorite things about these movies is the tragic story of Anakin Skywalker. Anakin Skywalker is my favorite fictional character of all time, and it all starts here.
Master Anakin, you are my mentor, and I wish you well. However, I should prefer it if I were a little more completed.
Poor 3PO. And leave him behind. I was also, and still am, very fascinated by set design. But whatever's on these shelves, all these little knickknacks and things, I was very fascinated by that as a kid. And like I said, still am. I like to see the little things and like look in the background and pick it apart. Set design is something that's not appreciated enough, I think. So you see before in the scene, he's so excited. I mean, he's this little kid he had dreams of being a Jedi. I'm gonna go off and I'm gonna go with this Jedi, and like my whole life is about to be crazy, and I'm not gonna have to live here and be stuck doing the same thing, and I can do so much else. You know, I can get out there and do the things I've always dreamed of doing. But then here, it's the contrast of like, but I don't want to let go of my mom. You know, I don't want to leave her here. And you know, it's that connection that they have. And this sequence here with Shmi and Anakin is beautiful. Pernilla August plays Shmi in this, and I think she is so good as this role, the nurturing mother. It's so hard for her to let her son go like that, but she knows that it's better for him. It's going to be a better life for him. It's not what she wants selfishly, but she knows it's the selfless, motherly thing to do, is to let her son go off and live ultimately, hopefully, a better life, which obviously is what comes down the line is a whole other story, but, you know.
Anakin, drop!
This little lightsaber clash here with Qui-Gon and Darth Maul is so underappreciated. It's very brief. You can tell the red rotoscoping on the lightsaber here for Maul was hard to get that color quite right. It looks very orange in the setting of Tatooine.
We should be patient. Anakin Skywalker, meet Obi-Wan Kenobi.
This is the meeting of a lifetime right here. Obi-Wan does not have a huge part in this movie. I think originally George Lucas had intended to have Obi-Wan be a bigger part, and then kind of opted to have Qui-Gon take on more of that role that he intended originally. But I think it works. He's in the background. I could have done with more of him though. I think if I were making the calls, I would have done some more Obi-Wan. But I think what he has in here is very effective.
Death toll is catastrophic. We must bow to their wishes. You must contact me.
Padme really struggling here. Playing the handmaiden, but carrying all this weight as the queen that nobody else really can know about, you know, because of this kind of ruse she's putting up here. Jar Jar snoring away.
She must convince the Senate to intervene, or I'm not sure what'll happen.
I made this for you.
This is the contrast of all of this important stuff. Because in reality, she's only 5 years older than him. The stuff that she's got to worry about in her role. He's just this little boy that's just like, I made this for you. You know, he's very, just a very genuine little kid, and Padme had to kind of rid herself of that side of herself so early on to be in the positions she's been in. Good old Palpatine. At this point, Senator Sheev Palpatine. Not Chancellor yet, but that's the whole story here. To this day, Coruscant is my favorite planet in Star Wars. I am so fascinated by its design and everything that goes into it, and I think it was shots like this that were the beginning of that. Always so invested in the scenery of it all.
May I present Supreme Chancellor Valorum?
Welcome, Your Highness.
We got Terrence Stamp playing Finis Valorum here. And he does great with what he has. I wish he had more scenes, but he does great with what he has here.
I've called for a special session of the Senate to hear your position.
I'm grateful for your concern, Chancellor.
But I want him to say, kneel before Valorum.
Annie, come on.
It's a little moment like that, but it's very realistic. This little kid being like, I don't know where to go, but Qui-Gon, I don't really leave Qui-Gon, that's where I'm here. Is like, you know, he's attached to Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon brought him with him. It's weird to be kind of sent off into this whole, he has no idea what's going on, and you can only imagine being in that situation. Everything here is so foreign to Anakin. He's like, where the hell am I? This is so different. Can you imagine going from Tatooine to Coruscant? It's like, if Tatooine's all you really know, it's like that's such a night and day shift.
What options have we?
Our best choice would be to push for the election of a stronger Supreme Chancellor.
Ian McDiarmid's performance here in these movies is so brilliant. You can hear it in his voice, see it in his face, the way he plays Senator or Chancellor Palpatine is so different from the way he plays, you know, Darth Sidious or Emperor Palpatine. But you can see little glimpses of him. You know, he like changes his demeanor, and like you can see he's playing the part. Wherever he's at, he's playing the part, but he does it so well.
My only conclusion can be that it was a Sith Lord.
Impossible.
So this is the current Disney Plus release of the film, whatever the Disney Plus version is. So this is post the Blu-ray release of Star Wars, where they replaced the puppet Yoda with the CG Yoda. And I never hated the puppet. I like this because it fits with the other two prequel films. So it is preferred. But he looks great, this CGI effect. But I really like the puppet. I think people gave it too much shit. I like it.
You refer to the prophecy of the one who will bring balance to the Force.
Yeah, the council segments of this movie are still... They were the things that fascinated me the most as a kid, and now today fascinate me so much. It's my favorite stuff in this. I love all of the different characters, and you know, there's you got Plo Koon and Oppo Rancisis, and there's Yarl Poof and Yaddle, who is of Yoda species, and so many cool characters in this. But also the segments reveal stuff like that and kind of show you exactly how it's a great setup for the Jedi. I mean, yeah, you already see that with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan early on, but this really shows their way of doing things. It's very civil, very, very much different from what I'm sure a lot of people thought when seeing the Jedi that you're revealed to. The little bit you see in the original trilogy is very different.
Tragedy has occurred, which started right here with the taxation of trade routes.
The Senate pods, one of my favorite settings on Coruscant.
To the Senator's statements. The chair does not recognize the Senator from the Trade Federation at this time.
Because when you really think about it, this is what it would probably... You know, this is reasonable when you think about our real world and how things look. And then this is representation of all of these different systems. Believably, this makes sense in this world, or this galaxy.
The Congress of Malastare concurs with the Honorable Delegate from the Trade Federation. A commission must be appointed.
You know, something that was cut was a different actor, not Jimmy Schmitz, playing Bail Organa. You can see that deleted scene on Disney Plus, but there was a different actor. I don't remember his name right now, but he was playing Bail Organa in this scene, and that was cut ultimately, and then Jimmy Schmitz played him in Attack of the Clones, so... Interesting little side fact.
I suggest new leadership is needed.
I'm like endlessly fascinated in all of the alien species that you see in each pod. Sad day for Valorum here. If you see off in the corner here, there's the E.T. species from the movie E.T. and it's they're called Asogians in Star Wars, and the senator's name is Greb Leaps, which is Spielberg backwards, as a nod to Steven Spielberg. So I always loved that. How feel you?
How feel you?
You gotta imagine how scary this is for this little boy in front of these very strange environment around strange people.
Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
It's the iconic line from Yoda.
I sense much fear in you.
The Jedi are very weary of this. Qui-Gon was very gung-ho, like, hey, he's the chosen one, guys. Like, we got to do this. And then the council's very much like, I don't know, dude.
Senator Palpatine has been nominated to succeed Valorum as Supreme Chancellor.
A surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one.
Surprise to be sure, but a welcome one.
Promise to put an end to corruption.
Who else has been nominated?
Palpatine in his head is just like, yes, I fucking did it. See, I mentioned the Bail Organa thing before, and Panaka there says Bail Antilles of Alderaan. So there's two separate characters. You have Bail Antilles and Bail Organa. Two separate Bails from Alderaan.
I've decided to go back to Naboo.
Go back?
I like how she says Naboo there. She says, decided to go back to Naboo.
Your Highness.
Ready my ship.
Please, Your Majesty, stay here where it's safe.
It's like some of the lines of Palpatine and the way that he, Ian McDiarmid decided to deliver them is very much like Willy Wonka saying, stop, no, come back. Like, it's very much like a disingenuous way of saying it. I love it. I think it's great.
No. He's too old.
Qui-Gon's like, say what? I know this was so up in arms with some people originally. Like, what do you mean Anakin's too old? He's a little boy, but they want Jedi to start their, Jedi journey at so young that they have zero connection, to anybody else. There is in Dooku, Jedi Lost, and Master and Apprentice, the two separate extended books and things. There's a character named Rael Averross who was Dooku's Padawan before Qui-Gon, and he was brought in at the age of 5. He was not very easy for the council to kind of work with and stuff. He was very I do my own thing and whatever. And so they were very up in arms with that. And so think about 5 to 9, 9's a big jump. So I like that add-on to canon now looking in hindsight.
I'm not allowed to train you, so I want you to watch me and be mindful. Always remember, your focus determines your reality.
Your focus determines your reality is such a good line.
What are midichlorians?
Midichlorians are a microscopic...
The infamous midichlorian scene. Midichlorians have never bothered me as a fan, but I was so young when this came out too, so I can't even imagine.
And we would have no knowledge of the Force. They continually speak to us, telling us the will of the Force.
I think there's a lot of confusion in the fandom about what the midichlorians are. A lot of people just assume, the midichlorians are the Force, but that's not true at all. Midichlorians are microscopic organisms that can speak to the Force, and they are the connection between the living being and the Force. I think that's one of the most misunderstood things in Star Wars ever, is that people just assume that the midichlorians are some kind of special thing you only have when you're Force sensitive and stuff like that. It's no, everything in Star Wars has midichlorians. It says it in that scene. It's just that certain beings are able to tap into that because they have a higher concentrate, and so they're able to hear the midichlorians speaking to them. It's not something that's super easy to understand on only a couple viewings if you're really, if you're not really tapped into this. So I get it, but it is very, very much something that that gets, I think, kind of lost in translation a little bit, and I think people need to rethink. I hear a lot of misinterpretations of that.
I'm sorry for my behavior, Master. It's not my place to disagree with you about the boy. And I am grateful you think I'm ready to take the trials.
Some of the stuff in this movie where there's some scenes in this movie where Obi-Wan looks a little bit different It's because they were doing reshoots, and Ewan McGregor had to be fitted with a wig in order to make it, try to appear like his hair before, and he clearly looks a little bit off in comparison. Oh, it's the Gungan sacred place. This is where they retreat to. They had to leave Oto Gunga behind. I love Boss Nass.
We have searched you out because we wish to form an alliance.
Your Honor,
This is that scene.
I am Queen Amidala.
The big reveal.
My protection. My loyal bodyguard. I'm sorry for my deception.
Qui-Gon looks over at Obi-Wan like, bro, I told you.
Peace. The Trade Federation.
Like they bet on it or something. And I think as a kid, I think if I'm remembering correctly, the first time I saw that, I think I might have thought she was lying or something. And I didn't fully understand it, and it wasn't until later when obviously watching it again and also Attack of the Clones and stuff being like, oh yeah, of course she's the queen. I don't know what... I was a child, okay? I was a little boy. But I like that Padme steps up and is like, actually, look, this has gone out of hand. Listen. And these were words that only the Queen really could convey in order to convince Boss Nass of this partnership.
Lord Maul, be mindful. Let them make the first move.
Yes, my master.
Yes, my master. That's Peter Serafinowicz who did the voice of Maul in this. And like Sam Witwer picked that up and did it so well later. He says so few lines, but there's so much like, it's not like super deep and gravelly, it's just slightly, just like kind of soft, and it's menacing though, and I think it works so well. He's the silent killer essentially. He doesn't have a whole lot to say. I do think though, as much as I love him in Clone Wars and Rebels and stuff, I do think he's a little bit too monologue-y in those. As much as I love Sam Witwer's take on it, he's a little bit too monologue-y at times.
Almost everyone's in camps. A few hundred police and guards have fallen.
I think right here always throws me off still to this day. Like, Boss Nass is not super believable as an effect right there walking up to them, not like Jar Jar is, but it's weird to see him. He's so little, because like the way they shoot him on the throne in Oto Gunga, and then even in the sacred place, he's up on that tree and kind of talking down, the way they shoot the angle up, and he seems like this massive figure, like this big thing, and then he gets here and he's just this like normal sized dude, you know? There's always I'm always like fascinated by that whole shot, to see him walking up, just waltzing up all naturally.
Many Gungans will be killed.
We are ready to do our part.
I see it as a very bold choice by George Lucas to stick to the way that Gungans speak. It's not the most easy to understand language, and if you read the screenplay, it's how it's written. It's very written, misa, wisa, la la la. It's not like written in English and then they did it later. Like, it's very much, it's not the easiest to understand, but very bold of him to stick to that. Right here is where you see how short Ray Park is. But the Nemoidians are taller, but he looks so little right here. And I'm a short guy, I'm really short, so I feel for him, but I just think it's funny. I love this swampy shot. I've always really liked this shot. This whole grassy plain battle reveals some of the dated effects in a lot of them. Right here, it looks okay. Some of the effects, as it goes on, don't look as great. They don't hold up as well as some of the other effects in this movie. The technology here, the thought put into the technology by the people that worked on this film, the thoughts of how things would work and all of that, and like just the shield, the way it shoots up and kind of builds like that is just super cool. I do like this though, like that CG, even though it's CG, you see the grass blades kind of, moving and stuff with the ships flying over. It makes it a little bit more believable of an effect. It would have been so easy for George Lucas to utilize the lightsabers, with how many Jedi are in this movie and stuff, to utilize the lightsabers so much and have the lightsabers be used a ton, and they're used so sparingly. And I think it works so well because at the end it's the big battle here and then into the fight with Darth Maul that the lightsabers really shine. But he uses them just enough and shows just enough cool stuff with them. Some more props to the designers of this movie, the people making all of these designs and stuff at ILM. But the N1 Starfighters with the 2 engines on the front, it's got the little dip thing, the little like point, it comes to a point at the end. Such a cool design, very unique. I guess as of recent, the Mandalorian has been riding around in a kind of duped up N1 Starfighter, but because even the showrunners of that show know that's such a cool, it's a cool little fighter design. If I'm gonna keep like gushing about the designs for a second, just like this whole thing, how this carrier shoots out the droids, and all of these droids are just kind of like lined up, and they're all folded up, and then they kind of section out and then drop onto the ground. I just think that there's so much thought put into that, and it's what makes us, one of the things that makes us love Star Wars so much is the amount of thought that's put into this world and making this galaxy feel real. And to give credit to the Gungan stuff too, all of the weaponry, this is a very primitive species versus machines, and I think it's a really cool contrast there between the two armies.
Anakin, stay where you are. You'll be safe there.
But
Stay in that cockpit.
Qui-Gon's on, like, listen to me, boy. The big reveal. This is iconic as iconic gets, man. This is so good. This is the shot most people think of with Darth Maul is right here where he derobes. Yes! The big hype moment. Still gets me excited. The double lightsaber. And very smart to not have multiple characters have that. Like, George Lucas stuck to that. Like, it's just him. This wasn't the original double-bladed lightsaber in Star Wars. Back in the Legends day of comic books, and Dark Horse was doing stuff. The Tales of the Jedi comic books had the first double-bladed lightsaber, but this was the big screen reveal, and to most people, this was their introduction to that.
Try to override it.
Not my favorite thing that there's a bunch of oops that go on with Anakin, but I think most of it works. There's just some of it's like, all right. This whole fight is great. The Duel of the Fates. This is the lightsaber battle that people call to when they talk about the strengths of the lightsaber battles in the prequel films. Speaking of clumsy and oops and all of this stuff, this is where Jar Jar is like, to me, just because I think it's kind of dumb. I mean, any kind of slight thing that Jar Jar does good is all a clumsy coincidence.
R2, get us off this autopilot. It's gonna get us.
Anakin's stuff makes a little bit more sense because he has all these instincts that he doesn't understand, just like in the pod race. He just figures it out, and he makes some decisions that are
Qui-Gon told me to stay in this.
May not be intentional to him, but he does them, and they always work out, and that's because, you know, that's kind of just the specialness of this kid. Yes. It's a great setting for a lightsaber duel. And so much is at stake, too, you know, like one false move, just like with Obi-Wan here, one false move, you could fall to your demise. Darth Maul's like, what in the hell? The contrast here is perfect. This is one of my favorite parts of the movie, is that you see Darth Maul's waiting for that time to just, I mean, this is really, this character has been waiting for so long, pretty much his whole life, to do this, you know. His whole purpose is to take out the Jedi, and he's ready to take out Qui-Gon as soon as that force field lets off. You know, as soon as that thing opens back up, he's ready to go. He's ready to fight. Qui-Gon is very calm and patient and meditates, and just showing that Qui-Gon really is the perfect, ideal Jedi.
Jaja, using the boomer.
Jaja using the boomer. But see, like right there, like he hits the droid on accident. It's like, all right, I can see why people find that annoying. It's not my favorite thing, but it's so easily overlooked because I love everything else around this, you know? I love it anytime R2 gets to scream like that. The wow! But like as soon as that ray shield lets go, like he's ready to go. Bam. But people talk about Obi-Wan not using force speed right there, because they used force speed earlier in the movie. It's been explained in current canon that that it would have drained him temporarily had he used it in that moment. I don't really think it needed that much of an explanation, though. This choreography between them, you feel like there is no defense involved in Obi-Wan here. He's just like letting it all go. He's just attacking because he's just like, he just watched his mentor be killed in front of his eyes. Bam. How will Obi-Wan get out of this one? Kicked his lightsaber down. See, like, this works for me right here. But it makes sense that if you're going around pressing all these buttons and trying everything you can, you're eventually going to find the right trigger that's going to do something crazy, you know?
What's that?
I do like the confusion from the other pilots.
What's they doing?
That's the Easter egg that's been pointed out a million times, is that it says 1138 on the back of this droid. Which THX 1138 was George Lucas's first film. Which is a fantastic film, by the way. If you have not seen THX 1138, do yourself a favor. It is phenomenal. This is where now, you know, he's gotten himself in this predicament, fully going rage mode, and now he's opting to be a little bit more like Qui-Gon here and trust in the Force and think a little bit, and bam. And like, Maul's too blinded by his rage to even realize that that was going to happen. It's one of the few instances of blood at all with the cauterization of the wounds. And that was the fate of Darth Maul for so many years before the Clone Wars.
Promise me you will train the boy.
Yes, Master.
This shows you how important that was to Qui-Gon. That mission of making sure that Anakin, he will bring balance. Like, Qui-Gon was so devoted to that that it was his dying wish, was to make sure that happens, you know? I always felt like this ship here looked like a finger. Such a random thing to say, but absolutely thought that.
We are indebted to you for your bravery, Obi-Wan Kenobi. And you, young Skywalker. We will watch your career with great interest.
That's a great foreshadowing moment right there for the later two prequels down the line. Is like Palpatine and Anakin's relationship has little bits until Revenge of the Sith, and then they just let it all go. In the background here, as one of the guys behind the Queen, is Ben Burt, who's the sound designer of the original Star Wars films.
The chosen one the boy may be. Nevertheless, grave danger I fear in his training.
Yoda's like the only one to be like, guys, I know there's something that could go wrong here. Something that's gonna go wrong in his training. The cremation of Qui-Gon. This was a powerful moment to me as a kid. Just watching him burn like that was so... wow.
No more, no less. A master and an apprentice.
The first call to the rule of two. I love that they say that, and then you just see it pan over to Palpatine. Very intentional. They go all out for this ceremony, man. You got Anakin with his Padawan hairdo now. Yeah, this orb always reminds me of those lamps. You know, you put your hands on it and the static touches your hands. Written and directed by George Lucas. I love that movie. I love that movie so much. Is it my favorite of the bunch? No, it's not. We'll get there when we get there. I don't want to reveal it till we get there. But I had such a hell of a time really doing a deep dive breakdown of that and just letting my thoughts flow. When you're watching with other people, you don't really get to do what I just did because people are like, bro, shut up. But if you're here for a YouTube video, so it's like I'm just gonna, let it all out. But I loved experiencing that in that way and letting a lot of those thoughts are things that are just going through my head when I'm watching these movies. Movie means so much to me. I know that a lot of people have their hangups about it and don't like it. And I hate that they can't experience the same as me. Not in a hate, like I hate that you hate this movie. Like I hate that they can't feel what I feel when watching it because I love everything about it. I mean, yeah, there's the little things I pointed out that are like, but in the grand scheme of it, those things are so easily overlooked because the things that I love about it are so strong. That scale is so much higher on the like side than the dislike. The dislike is almost non-existent and for me. But I'm a big Star Wars fan. I'm a lover of these movies and this world, and I'm constantly consuming it. I'm always trying to find ways of not only of adding to my knowledge of like reading a book or listening to an audiobook or reading a comic, and that goes with canon and legends. Just in general, I love the Star Wars universe and all that comes with that. And what George Lucas did with this movie was so ambitious and. He really kick-started a whole new generation. This is the second wave. This was the next generation of Star Wars fans, and I was part of that. So a lot of the older fans that grew up with the original trilogy were, curmudgeon and, this is stupid, and Jar Jar sucks, and blah, blah, blah. But, me and my friends and a lot of other kids, who are now adults now, they love the prequels, and just like me, and it's nice to see that, because for the longest time, it was just a bunch of negativity, just like it is for the sequel trilogy now, and only time will tell if that kind of stuff changes, but I adore this. Down below, I'd like to have conversations with you all. I'd like to keep it civil, though, I'll respect you. If you don't like something, tell me why you don't like it. That's fine. I love a debate. I love a conversation. I don't like argument. I don't like yelling at people. I think it's crazy that people fight over something as simple as movies. I'll listen to you, you listen to me, and that's kind of why I wanted to do this, is just like talk about everything that I love about it and all the things that I know. There's a lot in there that I was rambling on about something, and there's a lot in there that I didn't get out that I wish I could have, but that's okay. That's the whole point of this, is every time I watch Star Wars, different thoughts come into my head, and I notice different details that I didn't before, or think about something in a slightly different way, or take into account maybe something new that I've recently consumed, because canon's always adding to stuff, but I try to keep it real and know that I'll mention it in these commentaries, like, this happened in canon, or, in Legends they said this, or whatever, but I'll make sure, it's very much aware that that doesn't mean that everybody holds that in their mind when they're watching these things. It's just to inform people who may not be as connected to this stuff as I am. Because I'm very aware that there are casual Star Wars fans. I have plenty of friends that are like that. So I wanted to incorporate Star Wars into this page somehow, and I've seen them all. There's no first time watching here for me, and all of my friends have seen them, and so there's none of that going on. And even if there was, I would feel the need to want to discuss it and talk about it. And really, it's hard for me, like, unless I'm completely silent. You either get commentary on or commentary off with Star Wars. I'm a little annoying about it, so not gonna lie. Definitely tell me your memories of it, growing up with the prequel era, and this stuff, and Star Wars ruled the world for me and many others in that time period, and so I'd love to hear all of that. But I will continue doing these. These are just going to be these deep dive commentaries for me. These are my passion projects, even if they don't get a lot of views, which I hope they do. But even if they don't get a lot of views, these are for me. So I will continue doing these. When we come back next time, we're going to jump into Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and hit the like button and subscribe, obviously. It's what we're doing here. but I appreciate anybody who sat through this whole thing, because that's a lot. But yeah, that's all I have for you, and I will see you guys next time.